Case study would be working primarily with dynamic data maxing. Dynamic data maxing limits sensitive data exposures by masking it to non-privileged users, and is also complementary feature to other fabric security like the column level security and the level security. We're also going to be looking at the different types of dynamic data masks. We have the default, we have the email, we have the random, we have the custom string. So when we'll be moving into a hands-on session, a more practical session, we'll get to define all these dynamic data masks. What are the prerequisites required for the hands-on session? Before you begin, make sure you have a Microsoft Fabric workspace with an active capacity. For this demo, you start by creating a workspace. What do I mean by workspace? Workspaces are places to collaborate with colleagues in order to create collections of items. So items in this case, I'm referring to your lakehouse, your warehouse, and your reports. Just a quick walkthrough of the workspace UI. We have the header. So for the header is contains your name and brief description of the workspace and also links to other functionalities. So you can see here, this is my workspace titled my workspace, that's a header. We also have the toolbar. So for the toolbar, this contains control for adding new items, new folder. You can even import and migrate. So it also contains a search box. So this is filter by keyword as well as filters and your list view. So this is my list view and my lineage view selector. The list view and lineage view selectors enables you to choose which view you want to see in the view area. This is my view area. You can see where my icons are navigated to, my cursor on my screen. My view area display either the list view or the lineage view. So currently we are in the list view. This is being displayed here. And if I switch over to lineage view, you would see how so you can see that there is nothing here. But a quick intro for the lineage view is actually display in more like a task flow, item lists, resize bar, and show and hide icon. And subsequently, we'll be moving into more case studies on that. So let me switch over to my list view. I have my workspace created, DB test. And the next thing is to create our items. How do I go about that? I select new item. When I have that selected, you select your warehouse. You click on your warehouse. You can also filter by the keyword warehouse. This is how to go about it. So in case yours is not displayed at the top of the screen. So if you're familiar with SQL database, this is how to go about creating your tables. And because we want to implement dynamic data maxing. So I created my schema, DBO schema. So this is my schema DBO customers ID, I assign data types, integers, varchar, char, and so on. So if you're coming from a SQL background, even a Power BI background, you should also be familiar with that template. I'm going to create a new visual query. I select History from DBO period customer. So I reference the schema and I reference the table. I have that highlighted and I have this executed. This gives us informations in our tables. We have the customer's name, the first name, credit card, last name, phone number, and emails. The first kind of marks we are going to be implementing is going to be the default marks. So in this mark statement, let me take this up, Control X. Let's put that up here. So for this mark statement, I'm going to say alter. I'm just going to use the alter keyword. Alter DBO customers. Alter the table first of all. Then alter the column. I love keeping my clauses in cap locks. Alter column. So which column do we want to reference? We want to alter these email columns because we want to max this data. So I'm going to say email, that's going to be the email column. Add max max width. Going to open my keyword. Going to say function is equals to email. Keep that in small cap. So this is the first maxing feature we are going to work with. So let's have this executed. So our default maxing feature has been implemented. So back to my workspace. On my workspace, I'm going to click on these three icons. I'm going to go to workspace access. For workspace access, this is my testing account, but them test, and this is the admin. But we want to switch over to the test accounts to see how that has been implemented. On my switch account, you can see that my interface is blank. There's nothing on my interface. I don't even have a workspace. So which means I'm going to go ahead to share workspace. So I'm going to switch back to admin account. You see this share icon. I'm going to click on share. I'm going to input my name, and I'm just going to leave it at that. Read all data. I'm just going to leave it as default, and I'm going to say grant. Read all data using SQL endpoint. So it depends on the permission you are granting them. Do you want them to read all data in the lake house and so on and so forth? So I'm just going to leave it as default, and I'm going to click on grant access. So successfully granted permission. Another way of sharing your workspace, switch over to the workspace, have this selected, have DB test selected on the three ellipses. I'm going to go to workspace access. You can see that I have Mbotidem Awak as the admin. I'm the admin in my workspace. I'm going to click on add people. So this is my test account. Do you want to assign admin, member, contributor, or viewer role? I just want to assign MB test as a viewer to this workspace, and I'm going to click on add. This has been added. So let's go ahead to see if that has been implemented. I'm going to switch back to my test account. I'm simply just going to refresh this. You now see that I now have here MB test. I'm going to click on, I'm just going to have this workspace selected, my workspace. New SQL query, select Highstreak from DB customers, and I'm going to have this executed. So you would notice that I have implemented a maxing feature to this email. This is a different types of data maxing you can apply, as well as random. So random is simply where you are doing random maxing. Have a start range, it could have an end range. So we have also looked at email, which is also masking method that exposes only the first letter of an email address and the constant suffix.com. So in that form, you have an email address like A, which we have seen practically only the first letter and the other values. And we also have another type of masking, which is the custom string. So expose only the first and expose only the last. This is how to go about implementing dynamic data maxing in Fabric Warehouse. I also have a detailed article if you love reading documentation like me, so you'll see why data security matters even in different organizations. So I'll be creating videos on row level security and column level security. Thank you for watching. Subscribe and see you in the next video.